in the stillness of deep space, billions of miles from Earth. A spacecraft launched in the 1970s has just accomplished something it was never intended to do. Voyager 1, the farthest human-made object ever sent, has turned its instruments not outward, but backward. Back toward us, toward the solar system, toward home. And what it discovered out there, what it transmitted, has left scientists unsettled, engineers baffled, and astronomers speechless. This isn't just about how far it's traveled. It's about the fact that something in Voyager 1's latest transmission directly challenges what we thought we understood about the space beyond our solar system. Magnetic fields, plasma flows, cosmic radiation, up until now, they all pointed to a consistent reality. But this time, they didn't. Even more surprising, this revelation didn't come from advanced modern technology. It came from a probe using less computational power than an old digital wristwatch, driven by a fading plutonium power source that's been slowly deteriorating for decades. Yet somehow it has spoken quietly something we may not have been. Ready to hear? So what exactly did Voyager 1 reveal? What lies within this silent transmission that feels more like a cautionary signal than a scientific update? It all began with a rare cosmic alignment that occurs only once every 176 years. The unique positioning of Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune gave NASA the opportunity to use gravity assists to propel a spacecraft across the solar system, shaving decades off its journey. Launched in 1977, Voyager 1 was never intended to operate for more than a few years. But nearly 50 years later, this small, outdated machine is still speeding beyond everything else humanity has ever sent outward. From breathtaking flybys of Saturn's moons to stunning images of Jupiter's swirling storms, Voyager 1 captured some of space exploration's most iconic moments. But nothing compares to what it's encountering now, because it's no longer just traversing space, it's entering a region we never anticipated observing. A realm where the sun's influence fades and something else begins. Voyager didn't just pass the boundary known as the helioposit, vanished into it, and what it found beyond was far stranger than expected. Crossing into interstellar space was supposed to be a clean event. Theories predicted a noticeable drop in solar wind, a directional shift in magnetic fields, and a rise in cosmic ray levels. But when Voyager 1 crossed that threshold in August 2012, what it measured was perplexing. True, the density of charged particles increased, just as models had predicted. But the magnetic field, it stayed the same. That shouldn't have happened. The moment Voyager left the heliosphere, magnetic direction should have changed to reflect the galaxy's influence, not the sun's. Instead, it felt as if the spacecraft passed through a doorway, only to find the same room on the other side. Then came the strange tones, low-frequency plasma waves. Odd vibrations captured by Voyager's still-functioning sensors hinted at energy pockets. Repeating patterns and rhythms, they didn't appear random. They felt ordered, purposeful. Some researchers speculated that Voyager hadn't truly exited the heliosphere. Maybe the boundary is far more intricate, turbulent, or possibly even intelligent than we imagined. Years after that crossing, Voyager 1 began sending back data that didn't fit any recognized pattern. Background plasma signals suddenly fluctuated, not from any known star or supernova. Instead, it seemed the source mirrored Voyager's own signal. This wasn't just interference, it resembled feedback. Something out there wasn't just receiving Voyager's transmission, it was responding. Not in binary, not in radio. Waves. Frequencies. The consequences were profound. Could the interstellar medium long thought to be mute and empty actually respond to signals we send into it? Is the void itself aware, or is there something woven into it? A few scientists cautiously use the term resonance. Others feared something stranger still. Either way, Voyager's team realized this wasn't random. It was new, it was unaccounted for, it was intensifying. Then Voyager did something it had never done before. It paused. For nearly 2 weeks, its data stream became inconsistent. Gone. Not broken, but irregular, as if it were being disturbed, redirected, or repurposed. Some suggested it might be due to glitches in its aging software. But when transmissions resumed, its instruments had shifted slightly, scanning away from its expected course toward something else. Somewhere along the line, Voyager had reoriented not physically, but in terms of what it was observing. Sensors now focused on the region it had left behind the solar system, and what it sent back from that direction is difficult to interpret. Fluctuating energy, surges in particle density, as though something behind us was awakening. Voyager 1 still carries the famous golden recorder message from Earth for any intelligent being who might one day come across it. Music, greetings in dozens of languages, images of life on Earth's meant to reflect the human spirit, our curiosity, our hope, a gesture toward the unknown. But what if that message isn't just drifting aimlessly anymore? What if something already encountered it after Voyager's shift in orientation? Subtle but noticeable variations appeared in the electromagnetic environment around it. Patterns began to emerge, some surprisingly similar to the audio. Waveform structures encoded in the golden record. Rhythms, mirrored pulses, as if the message had not only been noticed, but responded to, acknowledged, reflected the Voyager. Team hasn't publicly stated what they believe caused these patterns. But in some internal reports, a few scientists now fear that our gesture toward the unknown may have acted like a trigger. We wanted someone or something to find the message, but we never considered whether they'd want to find us. Not long after this turning event, Voyager's cosmic dust detector, long assumed to be nearly useless at such distances, began recording unexpected impacts, tiny particles, yet far too dense, too frequent, and moving at inconsistent velocities. These weren't the typical drifting grains of interstellar dust. They appeared directed, grouped, structured. Tests revealed these particles carried traces of rare isotopes, some scarcely found even within our own galaxy, as if Voyager had passed into a region of space that was unnatural. Theories emerged ranging from turbulent dark matter zones to artificial debris fields. Some even considered whether Voyager had brushed past the outer edge of something massive, not visible, not active, but ancient, possibly fractured or dormant. Then came the moment no one could explain. After decades of following a precise course, Voyager's trajectory subtly changed. No thrusters had fired, no gravity from nearby objects could account for the shift, and yet its path altered just enough to concern mission control. Simulations failed to reproduce the effect unless an external force was introduced. Something magnetic, gravitational, or intentional. What could influence the course of a 720-kilogram spacecraft drifting in seemingly empty space? And more importantly, why? Voyager wasn't just looking back, it was being pulled, recalled. Then, through the final functioning plasma wave detector, something came through. A frequency drop, then an amplitude spike, not interference, not static. A signal pattern, one that matched no known cosmic source, not a pulsar, not a quasar, not a star. It followed a deliberate rhythm, repeating, then abruptly stopping. Some likened it to the pattern of a heartbeat. Others said it resembled geological tremors. But everyone agreed it originated from behind Voyager. It's from the area it had already traveled through, from the direction it had turned toward. Was it a message, beacon, or the lingering trace of something moving slowly, invisibly through space? Whatever it was, Voyager 1, once a silent explorer, is now a witness. And it may have just confirmed a fear as old as wonder itself, that we are not alone. And perhaps we've already been noticed. Voyager 1 was never meant to be a sentinel. It was a messenger, a time capsule hurled into the void with curiosity and faith. But after nearly 50 years, that messenger has shifted its attention. Not because we asked it to, but because something else drew it. We used to believe that space was silent, empty, unaware. But the information Voyager just sent back suggests a different reality, one where boundaries defy our models, where signals echo without a source, where invisible forces can alter not only a spacecraft's course, but perhaps our assumptions about the universe, We never truly knew what Voyager would discover. We didn't expect it to last this long, and we certainly never imagined it would return our gaze. Not with images or coordinates, but with a whisper veiled in data and distortion and silence. What comes next? We wait, we observe, and maybe we prepare. Because if Voyager 1 really just confirmed what we've long feared, then this isn't the end of the story. It's only the beginning. Somewhere far beyond the warm light of our sun. In a place so remote that even light takes over 16 hours to reach. An aging spacecraft is quietly sending back information that challenges everything we thought we knew about the laws of physics. Voyager 2, a machine older than the majority of people alive today, has just transmitted data so strange, so profoundly unsettling, that it's forced leading scientists to rethink the very structure of space. And hidden within that data is a signal, not a random fluctuation, but a pattern or rhythm. And behind that rhythm, something appears to be observing. What Voyager 2 has come into contact with might not simply be a spatial anomaly. It could be a message, a presence, or something more disturbing, a mechanism built by an intelligence far beyond our own. But what if this wasn't accidental? What if Voyager 2 was always destined to discover it? Get ready, because what follows might append everything you believe about humanity's place in the cosmos. Voyager. It's launched from Earth in 1977. With a clear and modest goal to explore the outer planets of our solar system. It was a relic of the Cold War era, outfitted with analog technology, golden records, and a nuclear power supply to ensure longevity. For decades, it traveled outward, flying past Neptune, and exiting the sun's heliosphere, and finally entering true interstellar space. Yet only recently did something happen, something its designers never imagined. Just past the boundary known as the heliopause, the edge, where the sun's influence fades, Voyager 2 moved into a strange, unfamiliar zone. There, its instruments picked up magnetic fields that shouldn't have been there. Plasma readings were illogical, and then an unusual signal, consistent, repeating pulse buried within the low-frequency background. It wasn't random. It wasn't cosmic static. It was precise, timed, predictable. Almost like it was created by something intelligent. The rhythm echoed like a mechanical heartbeat, pulsing through a region of space we had assumed was empty. As this data streamed in, the Deep Space Communication Network flagged something never before seen. Intensely structured magnetic field, one that didn't spread out as expected, but rather bent and pulsed, forming clear boundaries and gradients. Initially, scientists suspected the spacecraft systems might have failed after 45 years. But thorough diagnostics confirmed it was all functioning. The readings were real. Then came the true shock. The magnetic field wasn't stable. It was changing form as though it were responding to Voyager 2 itself, even more unnerving. High-energy particles normally scattered at random through space began to concentrate around the probe, forming what looked like a focused corridor of energy. Something somewhere was either guiding these particles or manipulating them. But for what purpose? Then the signal grew stronger. Plasma, the hot, charged matter that fills most of the universe, usually acts like a chaotic storm. Unpredictable, turbulent, wild. But Voyager 2 encountered something else entirely. The plasma was cooler, denser, and strangely uniform, it seemed. Controlled, contained, and within this field, radio waves began to bounce and echo. The signals Voyager sent back became distorted, forming harmonic patterns. Analysis showed that these distortions didn't match any known natural process. Some of the signal shifts even resembled early attempts by Earth scientists at data compression. It was as if Voyager 2 had entered, some kind of signal filterer, perhaps a receiver. Could there be an object or structure out there, cloaked in plasma, waiting silently for transmissions like Voyager's? So, it had been listening for 46 years, and now it had replied. Then came the anomaly that redefined everything. Voyager 2 recorded a deep, repeating pulse within the electromagnetic spectrum. It wasn't loud, but it was mathematically exact. Repeating at intervals unlike anything from a known celestial object, no star, no pulsar, no radiation source fit the profile. Even stranger, the moment Voyager crossed into the plasma field, the signal slightly increased in power, as if its crossing had activated something. Some dismissed it as coincidence. Others hesitated. One astrophysicist, a Nobel Prize recipient, publicly stated this might be the first true evidence of something artificial, or at least non-random, maybe a remnant of an ancient transmitter, a dormant structure now awakened by Voyager's passing. Or perhaps this was the beginning of contact not from human hands, but from a machine reaching out on our behalf. Voyager 2 continued transmitting. And then its sensors detected something even more difficult to explain. A ripple in gravity. A localized bend in space-time. It's not strong enough to suggest a black hole, but unmistakably present. And yet there was no visible mass, no planet, no rock, nothing to cause it. Just a distortion that bent light, plasma, and magnetism, as if something invisible were lurking there. Presence, a gravitational echo without a physical source. That discovery pushed some physicists to propose radical ideas. Perhaps what Voyager 2 had encountered existed in dimensions not quite aligned with our own. Maybe it wasn't even fully part of space as we understand it, but was intersecting with it. It's like a higher dimensional structure brushing against a two-dimensional world. In short, Voyager may not have found an alien ship, may have stumbled across an intersection point. A breach, a convergence. And just like that, the discussion shifted from astronomy to something more philosophical. Then, deep within Voyager 2's memory, engineers uncovered something even more disturbing. Data logs began appearing that had never been recorded. From years ago, files encoded in unfamiliar formats. Telemetry showing constellations the spacecraft had never encountered. Star charts that didn't match any current map. Could the spacecraft have been altered? Was its programming modified remotely? Or more unsettling, had Voyager become a receiver for information it couldn't fully interpret? Was it now storing fragments of a memory not its own? Some researchers suggested that what we were witnessing wasn't a malfunction, but an imprint. Voyager's systems had been exposed to a form of non-human logic, and in trying to process it, the craft had begun generating a hybrid data structure, like a translation between two completely different kinds of minds, one made of biology, the other unknown. Around this time, an independent observatory in South Africa tracking Voyager's location in the microwave band reported a sharp, sudden flash in the direction Voyager was heading. It lasted less than half a second, seconds or 0.4 seconds, to be exact, and then vanished. Visible light telescopes saw nothing. Infrared nothing, but the microwave sensors recorded what looked like a blink, like an eye opening and closing. Even stranger, the signal contained an echo of Voyager's own transmission, altered, reversed, a mirror. But the energy level of that blink was far too fast, too sharply focused to come from anything natural. It was deliberate. And then, just as quickly, it was gone. Not a conversation, just one response. As if something had said, "We see you." What followed rocked the scientific world. Some researchers insisted it was all a mistake. Aging instruments, misread data, unrelated cosmic events lining up by chance. But others stayed quiet, not because they disagreed, but because they were worried not about what Voyager had discovered, but about what had discovered Voyager. A few theorists began to develop new models, ideas about probes that don't move like our machines, probes that exist in specific spots in space-time, not flying around, but anchored. These wouldn't be spaceships or satellites, but conscious patterns, thought forms embedded in plasma, magnetic fields, or even quantum fluctuations. And Voyager 2, they said, may have just awakened one. One physicist summarized it plainly. We didn't discover something. Something discovered us. For over 40 years, Voyager 2 has been drifting farther than any other object humanity has ever launched. It was never meant to last this long. It was never meant to feel as though it was being watched. And it certainly wasn't expected to receive a response from something unknown. But now, here we are, a pulse, a signal, a distortion, a blink. And at the heart of it, all no creature, no spacecraft, no conventional signal, just an intelligence, built into the very framework of deep space. Not designed, not launched. simply there, waiting. Whatever Voyager 2 encountered, it might not be technology in any form we understand. It might be something far older, far more complex, something not local to our dimension, something that doesn't speak in words, but in geometry, gravity, magnetism, and the very structure of reality itself. And now that we've touched it, it's touched us in return. So what does this mean for us? For science? For what it means to exist? Maybe we were never supposed to come this far. Or maybe we've just rung a bell that cannot be unrung. Or perhaps this was always the purpose of the journey. Because if Voyager 2 has indeed made contact with something truly advanced, it hasn't just expanded the boundary of human exploration, it's crossed the line. We are no longer just observers. We are now part of the story.